Om Sadashiva-Samarambham
Sadashiva-Samaramбham
Shankaracharya-Madhyamam
Shankaracharya-Madhyamam
Asmadacharya-Paryantam
Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande
Vande
Guru-Paramparam
Guru-Paramparam
Shruti-Smriti-Purānānaम्
Shruti-Smriti-Purananam
Alayam
Alayam Namami
Namami
Bhagavad-Pada-Shankaram
Bhagavad-Pada-Shankaram Lokashankaram
Shankaram
Shankaram
Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya Keshavam
Keshavam
Badarayanam
Sutrabhasha-Kritau
Sutrabhasha-Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha
Mandasmita-Smita-Bhojam
Mandasmita-Mukham-Bhojam
Mahaniya
Mahaniya-Purnarnavam
Madhura
Madhurabhashinam
Shantam
Shantam
Sarvabhutadayaparam
Sarvabhutadayaparam
Bhaktavatsalyam
Bhaktavatsalyam Jagadim
Paramananda
Paramananda-Vigraham
Jnananandam
Jnananandam
Prapannosmi
Prapannosmi
Nirmala-Jnana-Siddhaye
Nirmala-Jnana-Siddhaye आयातु वरदा देवी अक्षरं ब्रह्म-संहितं गायत्रीं छन्दसा मातेदं ब्रह्मजुषस्व मे ओजोऽसि सहोऽसि फलमसि प्राचोऽसि देवानां धामनामसि विश्वमसि विश्वायु सर्वमसि सर्वायुरपि भूरोम् गायत्रीमावाहयामि सावित्रीमावाहयामि सरस्वतीमावाहयामि छन्दर्षीनावाहयामि श्रियमावाहयामि गायत्र्या गायत्री छन्दो विश्वामित्र ऋषि सविता देवता अग्निर्मुखं ब्रह्मा शिरो विष्णुहृदयगुं रुद्रशिखा पृथिवी योनिः प्राणापानव्यानो दानसमानः स प्राणा श्वेतवर्णा साङ्ख्यायन सगोत्रा गायत्री चतुर्विंशत्यक्षरा त्रिपदा षट्कुक्षि पञ्चशीर्षापनयने विनियोग ॐ भूः ॐ भुवः ॐ सुवः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपो ज्योतिर्सो अमृतं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्वरोम् ॐ हरिस्त्वामाराध्य प्रणतजनसौभाग्यजननीं पुरानारी भूत्वा पुररिपुमपि क्षोभमनयत् स्मरोऽपि त्वां नत्वा रतिनयनलेहेन वपुषा मुनीनामप्यन्त प्रभवति हि मोहाय महताम् धनुः पौष्पं मौर्वी मधुकरमयी पञ्चविशिखाः वसन्तः सामन्तो मलयमरुदायो धनरतः तथाप्येकः सर्वं हिमगिरिसुते कामपि कृपाम् अपाङ्गात्ते लब्ध्वा जगदिदमनङ्गो विजयते.
Welcome to today's session. See, in the fifth shloka, this session we will cover the fifth and the sixth shloka. So in the fifth shloka, the Devi's glory is described. See, if you look at a seeker's life, there is a moment in every seeker's life when they look at the world around them. The world is beautiful, isn't it? The world is beautiful. Sometimes it is very intoxicating. And despite a beautiful world, there is a sense of incompleteness. The world doesn't give us fulfillment. So there is a truth behind the world, and the truth is covered by a screen, a veil. If the truth is known, the world will disappear. The world as we understand will disappear. And since the truth is not known, the world looks very incomplete to us. And this veil or the screen is Maha Māyā. So when you say Maya, Maya is not an illusion. In the sense, it is not something which is false. It is an illusion of incompleteness. It hides the truth, it hides the whole so that the creation can unfold. Only when the truth is hidden, the creation can unfold. And this Maha Māyā is total ignorance. And this ignorance must not be misunderstood. Because ignorance is not darkness. This ignorance is unmanifested knowledge. See, it is unmanifested knowledge. What does that mean, unmanifested knowledge? See, as an individual, I don't know the truth about myself. So it is the self choosing not to know itself. And in the process, the infinite appears to be finite. And this is known as self ignorance, ignorance of the self. I don't know my true nature. And what does this ignorance do? The self ignorance. See, from the self ignorance arises a feeling that I lack something, a sense of lacking, and a feeling that something is missing. And from that sense of lacking springs desires. What is a desire? A desire is nothing but a movement outwards. See, desires themselves are of cosmic nature, they are metaphysical. Without desires, there is no universe. The world will disappear. So you can call the desires as the pulse of the universe. And the universe wants to constantly expand. Why does the universe want to expand? It wants to touch the infinite. Because it does not know that it itself is infinite. So it is expanding, and the expanding is a sort of longing to return to itself. And our desires are very similar. Through our desires, we want to expand and touch the infinite. We are ignorant about our infinite nature. So we want to expand ourselves through desires. Like how the universe is also constantly expanding. Look at science. Science says universe is expanding. And this desire is called as Manmatha. And when you look at the nature of these desires are like this drum beats of the Devi. She's beating the drum. And the desires appear from the drum beats. And when we attempt to fight the desires, we are unknowingly attempting to fight the very force that sustains the creation. Because without desires, there is no creation. So when you try to fight the desires, you are only trying to silence the drum beat of the Devi, because the Devi is beating the drum to set the creation in motion. So in our spiritual journey, we always say, right, we must stop our desires, we must drop our desires. So when we say that, it is not a war against desire, but a gentle turning towards the desire. You turn your mind towards the desire, not to indulge in the desire, not to suppress the desire, but to understand the nature of the desire, because the desire is like a thread that leads you back to the Devi. See, to attain the Devi is also a desire. When we long for liberation or moksha, that is also a desire. So when you look at the desire as something, a thread which leads you back to the source, the source is the core of the creation, the truth behind the creation. It is the heart itself. Back to the unmanifested knowledge that we call as the self. So when you look at desire is the Devi's way to pull the jiva back towards completeness. towards fullness. See, look at desires again. Desire is longing for something, isn't it? And there is something called original longing, the longing of the self, to know our true nature. So, firstly, we must understand what is unmanifested knowledge. There is something called manifested and unmanifested. So, we need to firstly understand what is unmanifested knowledge. When the sun rises, the night and the world is filled with sunlight. So, the sunlight is only for those who are not blind. If the eyes are not open, the person will continue to remain in darkness despite the sunlight, despite the sunrise. When the eyes are opened, the person will see the manifested world outside. Right? So we must understand what is manifest and what is unmanifest. The outside world is manifest world. So the outside world is very beautiful, no doubt about it. You got a beautiful sky, a very vast, infinite sky. There are stars, there are gardens, there are mountains, there are rivers. Very beautiful, isn't it? Manifested world. And there is an inside world. And the inside world is unmanifest. And the inside world is very, very beautiful, much beautiful than the outside world, the outside manifest world. And also that the inside world is bigger than the outside world. It's significantly bigger. The manifest world is limited. The unmanifest is unlimited. And the unmanifest contains all the future possibilities. So look at the unmanifest. The unmanifest contains all the universes that will happen in the future. So it is far bigger than the outer world. So there is an unmanifest world. There is something called unmanifest inside. There is a manifest which is outside. And between the two, the manifest and the unmanifest, there is the mind. The mind is like a wall. It stands like a wall between the inside and the outside, the manifest and the unmanifest. And there is a constant noise in the mind. Why? Because the unmanifest is constantly knocking the wall of the mind. It wants to manifest. So it is constantly knocking the wall of the mind. There are desires waiting to be fulfilled. So there is imagination which is waiting to come out into manifestation. There's so much of expectations which are unmanifest, waiting to come out. And the expectations are knocking the wall, which is called the mind. And you want to fulfill them. And the mind in the process is filled with a lot of noise. There are so many desires, and the desires are also conflicting. Desires are conflicting with each other, and they're fighting with each other. So the mind is like the wall of thoughts, desires, memories, expectations, frustrations, constant noise in the mind. Now, how do you take control of this situation? So, if you want to take control, you have to choose a few desires and discard the rest. Because every human being, every individual has a set of desires, isn't it? The person wants to become wealthy, wants to become educated, want to learn music, they want to be healthy, they want to be loved by others. So, all these are desires. And all these desires cannot be fulfilled simultaneously. It is not possible. So you have to choose certain desires, you have to drop certain desires. And whatever desires you choose, you work towards it. However, there are all these unchosen desires waiting behind in the unmanifest form. They will start troubling you. They will start dragging the mind towards themselves. And in the process, the mind becomes very noisy. We say the mind is chattering, isn't it? You have this constant chattering going on in the mind. Because of these disturbances, the unmanifest is waiting to come out. And in the process, what happens? Even the manifested world does not look beautiful anymore. Life always becomes very busy. There is a constant sense of urgency. In this world, there are many people who rarely witness the beauty of the sunrise and sunset. They never seen sunrise and sunset. They only see it in the TV screens and photographs. Life is in such a hurry. People are always running. The world outside is noisy and also a distraction. But the outside world is not a distraction. It is not even a noise. All the distraction, all the noise is happening in the mind. The mind remains continuously in a state of distraction. The world does not disturb you. What disturbs you is the mind. And this is how we can understand unmanifest and manifest at the level of the individual. And the universe too is in the state of manifest and unmanifest. The universe is in the state of manifest as well as unmanifest. So, Maya or Prakriti is the name of the universe in the unmanifest form or undifferentiated form. It is like a seed of a tree. The seed is undifferentiated and in unmanifest form. Even if you look at the water, go to a lake and look at the water is still, no waves. That stillness is unmanifest form. When the stillness becomes waves, it gets into a manifest state. So this unmanifest knowledge also is in a potential form like a seed which is undifferentiated. And this is known as Maya or Prakriti, which exists in the Brahman. And when this knowledge manifests, the manifested knowledge will involve duality. There will be a known, there will be a knower, and there will be an act of. And this unmanifest knowledge is pure consciousness that is in an undifferentiated form. It's an undifferentiated form. There are no names and forms. There is no nama rupa. Like the whole banyan tree is in a seed form, waiting to come out. That is unmanifested knowledge. And the unmanifested knowledge is known as Maha Māyā, which is total ignorance, and which is the unmanifested power of knowledge. Right? Total ignorance, but unmanifested power of knowledge. And the unmanifested knowledge is self ignorance. And the self ignorance is the cause for desire. See the link. Self ignorance is the cause for desire, and the desire is known as Manmatha. So, desire themselves is not a problem. So, as I said, no, desire is the Devi's way to pull the Jiva back to fullness. Because desire is longing for something, isn't it? I want to expand myself. I want to go beyond what I am today. That is the nature. Without knowing my true nature, which is infinite, I want to expand only to touch the infinite nature of myself. That is the purpose of a desire. And you look behind the desire, there's a longing, and the longing is the longing for the self, to know our true nature. And this desire has the strength of how long it will remain or exist in the mind. You cannot fight desires. You cannot even undo desires. It has its strength. The desire is Manmatha. Manmatha is powerful. And he draws or gets the strength from the Devi. And the Devi is in the form of ignorance or unmanifested knowledge. And this is the essence of the fifth shloka. So it's a beautiful shloka. Haristvam Aradhya Pranatha Jana Saubhagya Jananeem Puranari Bhutva Puraripumapi Kshobamanayat Smaropitvam Natva Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha Muninam Abhyantaha Prabhavati Hi Mohaya Mahatam. So this is the shloka. In this shloka, it begins with Harihi Tvam Aradhya. Harihi is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu worships the Devi. Harihi, Tvam Aradhya. Tvam Aradhya. Mahavishnu having worshipped you. Right? See, Mahavishnu took the form of Mohini. In fact, he appears as Mohini in four, five times in the Puranas. So he takes the avataram of Mohini, having worshipped the Devi. Harihi Tvam Aradhya, the Puranari Bhutva, Nari Bhutva, having taken the form of the feminine, he took the form of the Mohini avataram, having worshipped Devi when long ago, Puranari Bhutva, Harihitvam Aradhya, Puranari Bhutva. So when Mahavishnu took the form of Mohini, what happened to Shiva? In Bhagavata Purana and also in Brahmanda Purana, Shiva is infatuated by the divine illusion of Maya. So Mahavishnu takes the form of Mohini. Mohini is a very enchanting woman, right? She's so beautiful. She wants to deceive the asuras and grab the nectar, the Amrita, and give it to the Devas. So Shiva hears about it. Here is Mahavishnu taken the form of Mohini. And suddenly he gets a desire within himself. I want to see the Mohini. Mohini is Maya. I want to see the Mohini. So Shiva, along with Parvati, goes to Vishnu. Vishnu there is in the form of Mohini. So once Shiva sees Mohini, he is also attracted by Mohini. Shiva is supposed to be the supreme ascetic, isn't it? He's a yogi, he's a sannyasi. He's a married sannyasi. So seeing the Mohini, he gets attracted. He is captivated by her beauty. And he loses a sense of detachment. This is because of the power of Vishnu's Maya. And what happens? Overcome by the desire, Shiva pursues the Mohini. And in union with the Mohini, his seed falls down, leading to the birth of Shasta. Shasta is also known as Harihara Putra, the son of Vishnu and Shiva. So Ayyappa. So that is the appearance of Shasta. So this story has to be interpreted in the right way. It's about the divine Leela only to show that nobody is immune to Maya, nobody is immune to the power of Maya. And that is the truth behind the story. It's not just a story to simply, peripherally understand that, the Shasta was born out of the union of Shiva and Vishnu Maya. It's not that way to understand. It's only the Leela of the divine, which is designed to show that nobody is immune to Maya. And this union, it also shows the union of Shiva, who is Purusha, the Brahman, the pure consciousness, with Vishnu as Prakriti, the Maya, the feminine energy. Both are inseparable. That's how we need to understand these stories in the Puranas. So, Vishnu, having worshipped the Devi long ago, was able to take the form of a Mohini, Harihi tvam aradya puranari bhutva pura ripum api pura ripu. When you say pura ripu is Shiva, even Shiva. Pura ripum api pura ripu Kshobha Manayat. Shiva is the destroyer of Tripura, and that's why Shiva is called as Pura Ripu. Pura Ripum Api, Pura Ripum Api, Kshobha Manayat. Kshobham Anayat. Kshobha is what? What is Kshobha? Kshobha is mental agitation, a mental disturbance. Anayat, when there is a mental disturbance or an agitation that leads the person to somewhere. So when you say Anayat led him, the mental disturbance in Shiva's mind led him to Mahavishnu's Maya to witness the Mohini. So Vishnu assuming the form of feminine caused this agitation in the mind of Shiva. How? It is because of Devi's grace. So this means we can achieve anything in life with the grace of the Devi. Harihi tvam aradya puranari bhutva puraripum api shobham anayat. So what happened to Mahavishnu and Shiva is all because of the grace of the Devi. And who is this Devi? Jananeem. Pranat Jana Saubhagya Jananeem. Pranata Jana. Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananeem. When you say Jananeem, Janani means a mother. And here, Jananeem indicates the creator itself, the Karana Brahman. So Devi is the creator of what? Not only the physical material universe, she is also the creator of Saubhagyam. Saubhagyam means every form of wealth and fortune. So Saubhagyam is one word for all forms of fortune. Not only wealth and material, it's also about knowledge. It's about strength. It's about auspiciousness. It is also about wealth. So it's one single word which comprises of many things, all forms of fortune. Pranata Jana Saubhagya Jananim. So that is the Devi. And she is the generator of Saubhagyam. She gives or bestows Saubhagyam for whom? Pranata Jananam. Pranata Jananam. Pranatanam Jananam Saubhagyam Jananim. Or you can say that Yadevi Pranatanam Jananam Saubhagyam Jananim Sa Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. Sa Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. So Devi is the bestower of all forms of fortune. For people surrender to her. So surrendering to the Devi, what do you mean by surrendering to the Devi? Surrendering to the Devi means living a life consciously, living a life consciously of dharma, inculcating universal values within the individual. So Pranata Jana Saubhagya Janani. So Vishnu led Shiva to the illusion. Shiva's mind for in that moment went into the state of delusion only because of the grace of the Devi. Smaropi, Smaropi Tvam Natva. The Smaraha is Manmatha. Manmatha has got so many names. So the Devis, Vishnu and Shiva benefited because of the Devi's grace. Not only Vishnu and Shiva, Manmatha also got benefited. Manmatha, Smaraha Api. Marha is Manmatha. Manmatha also Smaraha Api. Manmatha has got many names. He is also called as Mara. Mara means one who wounds. want to create wounds, Mara. Then he is also known as Manmatha. Manmatha is what? One who churns the mind. Matha. It's a Samudra Mathananu. Manmatha. Manas. Matha. One who churns the mind. He is also known as Madana. Madana means intoxicating. Ananga is another name for Manmatha. Ananga is what? Without a body. Ananga. So Manmatha also received the grace of the Devi, not only Shiva and Vishnu. Smaropi, Smaraha api. And how did he get this grace of the Devi? Because he bowed to the Devi. He surrendered to the Devi, Tvam Natva, being bowed to you. How with his body, which is what type of body? How Manmata? Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha. Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha. The Manmata is desire, and his consort is Rati, his wife, consort. And Rati is the personification of attachment. So desire and attachment are inseparable. They're always together. And attachment alone can see the desire. Rati alone can see Manmata. Because the body of Manmata is visible only to the eyes of Rati. So lehyena, when you say lehyena, nayana is eyes. Nayana lehyena. When you say lehyam, see lehyam is means licked. Right? Licked is lehyam. Licking is lehyam. But we have to understand this context between in the context here. What is Nayana Lehyam? Nayana Lehyena. Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha. Nayana Lehyena. So Rati alone can see Manmatha. Manmatha is visible only to Rati. When you see, she is looking at Manmatha through her eyes. It's almost like licking Manmatha. That's how you need to take the meaning here, right? Having a body that is visible only to Rati, because Manmatha also has got the Devi's grace, and his body is touched only by the eyes of Rati. When you say Vapusha, Vapusha means marvelous beauty, is Vapusha. Rati is beautiful, isn't it? Marvelous beauty. Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha. Manmatha doesn't have a body. He is visible only to Rati. And Manmatha's body is only touched by the eyes of the Rati. And Manmatha became very powerful. Manmatha also has the Devi's grace. Having a body that is visible to only Rati, having bowed to the Devi, what happens? What does he do? He dilutes the mind. He dilutes the mind. Mohaya. See how the desires dilute our mind. Take over our lives. So mohaya, delusion, diluting what? Antaha. Antaha is mind. He can dilute the mind of everyone, not only the minds of the ordinary beings, but also the minds of the great sages. Muninam. Muninam abhyantaha mohaya prabhavati. The sages are the great ones. Mahata Muninam. Mahata Muninam. So Manmatha has the power to dilute everybody. He can dilute the ordinary mind. He can also dilute the extraordinary mind, like the rishis. Mahata Muni Nam. Why? Because of the day of the case of the is such that Mahavishnu became very powerful. He was able to take the Mohini Avataram, and Manmatha becomes very powerful. So Harihi Tvam Aradhya. Harihi Tvam Aradhya. O Devi, Anathajana Saubhagya Jananim Tvam Aradhya. Having having worshipped you to bestow all fortunes, having bowed down to you, Harihi Pura Nari Bhutva. He Pura Nari Bhutva, having Mahavishnu having assumed the form of the feminine, Puraripum Api Shobam Anayat, He Harihi Pura Nari Bhutva, Mahavishnu assuming the form of feminine, he is able to create disturbance in the mind of Shiva. Pura Ripum Api Shobam Anayat, he creates this agitation in the mind of Shiva. Smaraha Api, not only that Smaraha Api, Manmatha also, Atinayana Lehyena Vapusha, Manmatha's body, which is visible only to the eyes of Rati. Swam Natva, Manmatha having bowed to you, he is able to do what? Mahatam Muninam Abhyantaha, Mohaya Prabhavati. He is able to delude the minds of even the great sages. So he draws the power from the Devi, Manmatha. And the desires in the mind is Manmatha. And the desires can cause delusion in the mind. And how do we get over the delusion? As an individual, how do we get over the delusion? This means if we need strength to manage the desires, we need the grace of the Devi. So that Maha Māyā is total ignorance, which is the unmanifested power of knowledge. And this unmanifested knowledge is self ignorance. Self ignorance is the cause of desire. And the desire has the strength of how long it will exist in the mind. You cannot fight desires. No point fighting desires because desires the desires have the strength of Manmatha. Manmatha draws the strength from the Devi. So Devi is in the form of ignorance or unmanifested knowledge, and this is what this shloka is trying to communicate. And we know, we have been studying Vedanta for long now. And we know the root cause of any desire is avidya. And what is this avidya about? It is the I, misplaced notion of who I am. So in the next shloka, we'll talk about it further. It's again about Manmatha. See, Manmatha sees Parameshwara. The Devas send Manmatha to see Parameshwara. Parameshwara is meditation, he is in the state of Samadhi. So Manmatha goes to disturb him. He has to cause this slight agitation in the mind of Manmatha. So he goes to Parameshwara. And when he looks at Parameshwara, Parameshwara is like a dead body. But Manmatha is very puzzled to see the third eye of Shiva. Here is Parameshwara sitting. He looks like a dead body. There is no prana in him. There is no Shakti. But the eyes are slightly opened. The drishti is at the tip of the nose. So Manmatha sees this. Seeing this form of Paramashiva, he drops his bow and arrow in a shock. Just imagine a dead body with the eyes opened. Can't even see if the person is breathing or dead. Eyes are simply opened. Any ordinary person will be in a state of shock. So Manmatha is in a state of shock. He drops his arrow and bow. So he cannot make out if Parameshwara is dead or alive. And this Paramashiva is pure awareness. And there is nothing apart from his awareness. And the Devas have sent Manmatha to disturb Parameshwara. Because Parameshwara has to get up to take care of the troubles created by one of the Asuras, Shurapadma. So we are not talking about Purana story here. This is about understanding the nature of the consciousness. This is about understanding Maunam, silence. This is also the state of Dakshinamurti. The third eye is open, the Kundalini is in union, there's absolute stillness. Those around Paramashiva can sense or feel his tejas. The tejas will burn others. So Manmatha goes to see Paramashiva in this state. When he's going, he's taking Vasanta along with him. And how was the atmosphere, the environment around? It was like this. very dry forest. This Haritaki Haritaki forest is normally considered very, very dry. So Manmatha is going along with Vasanta, and suddenly this Haritaki forest turns into a beautiful spring forest. The nature of the forest gets changed because Vasanta is coming along with Manmatha. It becomes a beautiful forest. From nowhere, the birds are coming in. They're chirping. Our Parameshwara, Paramashiva is sitting there totally in a state of samadhi as if he is totally unaware. And that moment, what happens? A small vritti appears in the mind about the purpose of Manmatha's visit. And that vritti destroys Manmatha instantly. So that is the meaning here. See, this when you understand Maunam, see, the stories are told beautifully to understand the nature of Maunam. Maunam is so powerful. The desires are destroyed in the root. This is pure awareness. A vritti appears in the mind of Paramashiva about Manmatha's purpose. And that vritti is enough to destroy Manmatha. So when you look at the desires in the mind with total awareness, the desires will be destroyed. And the desire is the root cause of birth. Birth is always followed by misery. And we get stuck in this whirlpool of desires, isn't it? See, we say Brahma is the creator. Creation is not possible without desires. Desires is what? Kama. And the karma is what that keeps the creation continuously going on. Without desires, there is no creation at all. The desires are always present. The desires are that which keeps the universe alive. If there are desires, there will be universe. If there is universe, there will be devas and asuras. Both will exist. You see that even in today's world. You see both that side and this side. Different types of people, even fighting with each other across the world. That is the nature of the universe. So nothing to get agitated about it. So Manmatha is reduced to ashes by Ishvara, was restored to life and installed in his original position. By whom? By Kameshwari. By the grace of the Devi. This is the essence of this fifth shloka. So in the sixth shloka, it again continues. So the fifth shloka is what? Haristwamaratya Pranatajana Saubhagya Jananim Puranari Bhutva Puraripumapi Shobha Manayat Smaropitvam Natva Rati Nayana Lehyena Vapusha Muninam Abhyantaha Prabhavati Hi Mohaya Mahatam. So in the next shloka, Tanuhu, 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 Paushpam, Maurvi, Madhukaramayi, Panchavishikaha, Vasantaha, Samantaha, Malaya, Maruta, Ayodana, Rataha, Tata, Api, Ekaha, Sarvam, Himagirisute Kama, Api, Krupam, Abhangat te labdva jagat idam anangaha vijayate. So Manmatha is also known as Anangaha. So as I said, he has got different names like Mara. He's also known as Vasanta Saka, companion of Vasanta. Vasanta represents spring season. He's known as Kama, Mara, Smara also. He's also known as Smara, Smaraha. Smaraha, a recollected thought, is also Manmatha. Mind keeps on recollecting thoughts, isn't it? So Manmatha is the Manmatha personifies the recollected thought. Madana is somebody who intoxicates. Madana is another name for Manmatha. He is also known as Pradyumna. Pradyumna is somebody who conquers all. Desires will conquer everybody. All these are names of Manmatha. Ananga is also a name of Manmatha. Ananga is desire. See, look at the nature of the desire. A desire is very subtle, and desire arises naturally, right? It arises naturally in a form of a thought. And this desire personified is Manmatha, and he has got many, many names. Anangani yasya nasti saha anangaha. So desire does not have a form. See, it doesn't have a body, isn't it? It doesn't have a hand, legs. It doesn't have any limbs. In fact, it is nobody. And this is Anangaha. And that Anangaha Vijayate. Anangaha wins. Anangaha is victorious. He wins over the entire Jagat. Jagat idam Anangaha Vijayate. Jagat idam Anango Vijayate. How is it possible? He's winning over everything. He's winning over the world. He's taking over the entire Jagat. He's victorious. Anagaha Vijayate. How is it possible? And who is this desire? What is the nature of the desire? See, Manmatha is supposed to be very feeble. He is also Anangaha, formless. So that is the nature of the desire. The desire is very feeble. Desire is very subtle. Desire is formless. In our life, we ask questions based on our desires. For example, you go and ask a person, what do you want? Then turn the attention back to you and understand what point question arose in you. You're asking a question, what do you want? Right? Turn the question back to you and figure out from what standpoint are you asking the question. If you are identified with the body, your wants will be different. See, if a person is identified with the body, what becomes important? Food becomes important. Procreation will be paramount. So a question a person asks is always based on his identification. If he is identified with the body, the question will be always pertaining to the body alone. Body is always in the bottom of the ladder. But for example, if the person is identified with the mind, person's desires will be different. What will be the desires of the person identified with the mind? Is desires will be towards what? Music, poetry, dance. There are so many things associated with the mind. The questions also will be pertaining to that mind alone. But if the person is identified with something beyond the mind, person is identified with the heart, the desires of that person will be of higher nature. It will be of higher nature than the mind. So the person's questions will be more sensitive, more loving, more compassionate, more receptive. So any question we ask in our life to find an answer is based on where we are stuck as an individual. Are we stuck in the body? Are we stuck in the mind? Are we stuck in the heart? It's also an superior state, a transcendental state. The Shastrams will call it as Turiyam, a transcendental state. In that state, if we are aware of that state, all the desires will appear. When the desires appears, there will be nothing to ask. When you've got nothing to ask, what is there to be fulfilled? With nothing to be asked, there is nothing to be fulfilled. So there will be no future, there will be no past. The one who lives in that moment, the state of the person will be Purnam. So we have to inquire within ourselves, and it is not very difficult. If you start inquiring about yourself, I'm asking questions, certain questions are coming out of my mind. That questions alone will point you to where you're stuck. Which means what? Every desire you have in your mind, look at the nature of the desire. The desire will point you to where you are stuck yourself in your life. Or you're body oriented person, or you're stuck in the body, or you're stuck in the mind, or you're stuck in the heart, or is your mind turned towards the transcendental level? Mind is turned towards that consciousness, that awareness. The desires will disappear instantly. That's what happened when Shiva looked at Manmatha with absolute awareness. One vritti appeared in the mind of Shiva about Manmatha's purpose of visit, and that vritti burnt Manmatha. When you turn your attention and stare at your desires, Manmatha, they will get burnt instantly. So this Manmatha, he holds a bow in the hand, and the bow is made of flowers. Dhanuhu Paushpam, bow which is made of flowers. Pushpaihi Krutam Dhanuhu Paushpam Dhanuhu. Holding a bow made of flowers. So anything which is pertaining to flower is Paushpam. And the bow also has got a string, isn't it? So Maurvi is the string of the bow. And what type of string? Madhukaramayi. Madhukara is a bee, right? Honeybees, Madhukara. So his bow string is made out of honeybees. His bow is made out of flowers. His bowstring is made out of honeybees. And he's got arrows. Arrows. His 5 arrows are 5 sense powers. Panchavishikaha. Panchavishikaha. See, when you say Vishika is an arrow. Ishu is an arrow. Vishika is also an arrow. Synonyms. Panchavishika, 5 arrows. He's got 5 arrows. He's got a beautiful bow made out of flowers. The string of the bow is made of Madhukaramayi, bees, and 5 arrows are the 5 sense powers. So he's armed with the bow and arrow this way. And how is this Manmatha? Manmatha is weak. He's a weak person. And he's got a friend called Vasantaha. The Vasantaha is the spring season. Spring season personified. Vasantaha. See, Samantaha is companion. Vasantaha, Samantaha. Vasantaha is the companion. Samantaha is companion. Manmatha's companion. And this Vasanta is also delicate. Very delicate. Look at spring season. Spring season is also very delicate, isn't it? The flowers have just started blooming in spring, and the flowers are so delicate. So Vasantaha, Samantaha, Malaya Maruta. The Malaya Maruta is a pleasing, cool breeze which you get during the spring season, the Vasanta Kala, which is also very delicate. Season itself is delicate. The beautiful wind, the breeze which is blowing is also very delicate. The breeze touches you, right? It's not like this hurricane or cyclone which comes. They will destroy you. There's a very cool breeze which touches you. And this cool breeze is his chariot. Ayodhana Rataha. Rataha is chariot. Ayodhana, Ayodhana is what? A battle, a war, a fight is called as Ayodhana Rataha. So the warriors with bow and arrow will all normally use an Rataha for what? Warfare, for a battle. So this Manmatha is equipped with this Ayodhana Rataha. The cool breeze is the chariot of Manmatha. Even then, being so weak, see, look at everything is weak. Right? Just imagine a bow with flowers will be so delicate, isn't it? You can just break it, it's delicate, weak only. A string with Madhukara Mayi, the honeybees, is also very delicate. Along with that, he has got his friend Vasantaha, Samantaha, delicate spring season. He has got a chariot, which is the cool breeze which just gently touches you, which is also delicate. That's the nature of Manmatha. That's the nature of every desire. Very delicate. Tata api. And he is alone. Ekaha. Tata api ekaha. Even being so weak, tata api ekaha, he remains alone. And here Shankara Bhagavad is addressing the Devi as what? Himagirisute, daughter of Himavan. By her grace, Kama api krupam, having got, we're talking about Manmatha here. Manmatha being so weak, everything is weak about Manmatha. But he has got the grace of the Devi. The Devi is what? Himagiri Sute. Shankara is addressing Devi as Himagiri Sute. That Manmatha got her grace. How? She is looking at Manmatha in her, in the corner of her eyes, side glance. Apangat te labdva. Apangat te labdva. He, Manmatha gets gets this, this grace through the side glance. She is just looking at Manmatha. That is enough for him to draw the power from the Devi. He becomes very powerful. A weak Manmatha becomes extremely powerful just because she looks at him. And that power is enough for Manmatha. He is Ekaha, single-handed. In that Ekaha Manmatha wins over the complete Jagat. He takes control of the complete Jagat. What is Jagat? Desires. The nature of the creation is desires. You will start enjoying these beautiful verses, right? Especially you are all reading Upanishads so deeply, you will enjoy all these verses. So Manmatha, Yekaha Manmatha, single-handedly wins the entire Jagat because the Devi looks at Manmatha through the corner of her eyes. One simple glance is enough to power him. And he controls the world completely. He wins over the complete Jagat. Single-handedly, Jagat Idam Anagaha Vijayate. So we can see how the minds are compelled by the desires. The mind is always compelled by the desires constantly. The mind is fluctuating with desires. And imagine there are no desires at all. What will happen? The world will not exist. The creation will be destroyed in a moment without desires. The Devi alone is activating the Jagat through the desires. And how does she activate the Jagat through the desires? Through Anangaha, Manmatha. And that formless Manmatha, Ekaha, single-handedly manages the entire Jagat. Despite being so weak, Jagat idam Anangaha Vijayate. How? By the grace of you, by the grace of you, Devi. Kama api krupam apangate labdva jagatidam anagaha vijayate. Just by her grace, just by her side glance, he is able to win the entire universe for himself. He is such a weak person. He has got no body, that too. No limbs, no forms, no body, anangaha. And that is the nature of the desire. His bow is made out of flowers. Dhanuhu paushpam. And the string of the bow is made out of Madhukaramayi. And the Manmatha's companion is whom? Samantaha, is Vasantaha. His chariot is also so weak, like a breeze, Malaya Maruta. So, Ho Devi Himagiri Sute, daughter of Himavan, Kama api krupam, Apanga te labdva, by your grace. He has become so grateful. He wins over the Jagat, labdva Jagat idam anagha vijayate. So, this desire in the mind, see, we shouldn't be troubled by desires in the mind. The desire is a subtle, beautiful phenomenon which is the manifestation of the Devi. We can either be a slave or master of the desire. If you bow to Devi, And with her grace, we can become the master of the desires. So the choice is in our hand, whether we want to be the slave or the master. You want to be the slave. See, when you say desire, it is the world. Do you want to be the slave of the world or do you want to be the master of the world? It is absolutely in your hands. If you bow down to the Devi, she, with her grace, you can become the master of the desire, master of the world. Otherwise, what happens if you're the slave of the desire, you become the slave of the world? You cannot annihilate the desires, you cannot destroy the desires. You can conquer the desires, that is possible. And by conquering the desire, you conquer the mind. By conquering the mind, you conquer the world. And the world is dualistic, isn't it? Dvaita. And the world itself is emerging from the non-dual because of karma, because of desire. And the same dualistic world is made non-dualistic through the compassion of the Devi, and this is the Leela of the Devi. So in the creation, people are troubled by desire, anger, many things. So we surrender to the Devi with absolute devotion. She shows her compassion, and the cycle goes on and on. Desires are also unlimited. See, the unmanifested is unlimited. That is appearing as desires, that is appearing as the world. So that is the essence of this shloka. So Dhanuhu Paushpam Maurvi Madhukaramayi Panchavishikaha Vasanta Samantaha Malaya Maruta Ayodana Rataha Tata Api Yekaha, Manmatha is Yekaha, Sarvam Himagiri Sute Kama Api Krupam Apangate labdva jagat idam anangaha vijayate. That anangaha wins over the entire world because of your grace, Devi. Mahavishnu was able to take the avataram of Mohini because of your grace. So Shiva's mental disturbance was caused, that moham was caused in the mind of Shiva because of your grace. Not only that, Manmatha also draws his power from you because of your grace. And that Manmatha alone is responsible for the appearance of the world. Because Manmatha is what desires. Without desires, where is the world? So that is the essence of this shloka. So this shloka glorifies the power of the Devi. So we will stop here in this session. We'll continue next session. Okay. Uttame shikare chate bhumyam parvadamurtini brahmanebhyo anajnata gaccha devi yata sukham maya varada veda mata prachodayanti pavane edvijata आयु पृथिव्यां द्रविणं मह्यं दत्त्वा प्रजातुं ब्रह्मलोकम् ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमां अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्